And welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I am streaming to you from beautiful Budapest here in Central Europe. Hi Daljit, good to see our member Mikonan in class. Hi Gulnaz, hi Prajakta, Samir, Jairam, good to see another member. Fantastic. Jairam, I believe you are our newest member, which is great. Good evening to you as well. Make sure to send me an email, Jairam, with your membership level. Okay. Nyang Tia Kim Nguyen, good to see you. Li Hing, good to see you as well. All right, everyone. Today, IELTS reading passage. This passage is from our academic exams, but this could easily be a Section 3 reading passage for the general exam also. So whether you are academic or general student, this class will certainly help you. Materials do come from our websites, aehelp.com for academic IELTS. That's academicenglishhelp.com and gieltshelp.com for the general version of the exam. So definitely check us out at those websites. We will use one today in a moment here. Get our app, Academic IELTS Help. Download the app. The app works together with our academic website. Just in a few months, we'll be releasing the general version of the app as well. So make sure to get those apps and really master the IELTS exam, whether at home or on the go. Students, if you have questions, comments, concerns, please reach out to us, contact us. My email is Adrian, A-D-R-I-A-N, at aehelp.com. You can get a hold of us there. All right, students, so today it is a reading passage. Tomorrow for members, we will have a speaking part 2. Then for everyone, a speaking part 3. Followed by questions and answers for members on Saturday and a speaking part 1 for everyone. Okay, let's get going here with listening and reading. So we're going to go over the passage a couple times today for practice. Okay, so we're going to work on your reading fluency and on your comprehension. And we're going to use this passage. Why do tortoises live so long? So I'm going to play the audio for this. Read nice and loud. So it's called aloud reading, where you can hear yourself. One of the cool features that we have with our products, and this is unique, other IELTS materials don't have this, but we think it's very useful, is to actually have audio with native British English for the reading passages, just for practice. You don't have this in the real exam, but for practice at home, it is a really good idea. So this is our academic IELTS website. It's aehelp.com. You can log into your account when you have joined our course by clicking that blue button. Then you will have your audio CDs. That's just one of the many, many wonderful materials on the website. So students, I'm going to play this audio from CD number 5 because this is from test number 5. And please just read and focus on fluency and try to, of course, understand as much as possible here. Okay, so here we go. Let's do this.
Why do tortoises live so long? Tortoises are some of the longest-lived creatures in nature. They can live so long that scientists have yet to fully document the lifespan of these hard-shelled reptiles. Reports, however, indicate that certain species of tortoise can live up to 200 years, far longer than the average human lifespan. The reasons tortoises live so long are evolutionary and biological. though the population of these ancient creatures is declining due to low reproduction rates and increased predation. Nature is incredibly diverse, but the common factor among creatures is the need to reproduce. Some creatures, such as humans, have small numbers of young which are cared for diligently. Others, such as salmon, have no interaction with their offspring whatsoever. Instead, salmon rely on the sheer number of eggs they lay. They lay so many eggs that some are bound to survive to adulthood. While some animals rely on care or vast numbers of eggs, the tortoise relies on the longevity of their life. Female tortoises can produce offspring for well over a century. This is one reason tortoises live so long, so they can reproduce many times and thus continue the species. Reproduction, however, is not a cause of tortoises' longevity. The most fundamental cause of their longevity is their incredibly slow metabolism. A creature's metabolism is the rate at which they process food and energy. Some animals, such as the hummingbird, have very fast metabolisms in order to power their high-energy existences. Conversely, tortoises have very slow metabolisms because they have very few energy expenditures. In general, creatures with slow metabolisms live longer than those with faster metabolisms. Due to its low metabolism, the tortoise can live for up to a year without food or water. When explorers were travelling to the Galapagos Islands in the 18th and 19th centuries, it was common for sailors to take tortoises on board the ship as they left the islands. Since tortoises survived so long without food or water, they were able to provide the sailors with a very long-lasting supply of fresh meat aboard the ship. Metabolism alone, however, does not explain the great age to which the tortoise can live. Critical to the tortoise's longevity is their hard shell, which protects them from predators. Every long-lived creature in nature has a mechanism for protection. Some animals have speed to effect a quick escape from predation. Some use intelligence to outwit predators. Some use poison against predators. And some have physical protection, like the tortoise. In addition to its hard outer shell, the tortoise is also a large animal, and in general, larger animals tend to live longer than smaller animals. A final cause of tortoises' longevity is their island habitat. Animals which live on islands tend to live longer because they are kept separate from many of the most dangerous predators. Instead of developing energy-inefficient methods of keeping safe from predators, and thus requiring an increased metabolism, tortoises are free to allocate their energy to extending their lifespan and maintaining a very low metabolism. Though tortoises have developed an extraordinary ability to live a long life, today this ability is threatened by a number of factors. First, and perhaps most significant, is predation by humans. In the past, tortoises and humans did not commonly coexist, but today tortoises are killed by poachers who value the tortoise's shell. Second, the contamination of tortoise habitats has put tortoise young at risk. For the first 5 years of a tortoise's life, they are prone to predators such as rats. Originally, such predators did not share the tortoise's island habitat, but through the introduction of rats and other species to the habitat, it has put the tortoise at risk. Finally, the tortoise's slow metabolism means that they are very slow and virtually incapable of adapting to these new pressures. If tortoise populations are not looked after, they will almost certainly become extinct.
Okay, so that is the reading audio for this passage from our academic website. By the way, this is our general website here with the green background. You can click that big red button to join that website. And this speed that this woman was reading is absolutely fast enough for the IELTS exam. In fact, you can even read a little bit slower. So 15% slower is absolutely fine. Let's now talk a little bit about what are some skills and strategies that you should do for the reading section, and what are some that you should not do. There's a lot of confusion about this based on different information students receive from their classes and online. So let's talk about the don'ts. Okay. So what are strategies or techniques that we shouldn't use before or while we're doing the reading? Now, some of our students that are regular students should know some answers. So again, in M, this could be an academic or general. So Shangheng Sai says skimming. So that's a big don't. Yeah, that's right. So skimming and scanning is a bad, for answers, for all answers, is a bad idea. Sure. So don't skim and scan. Nirmaljit says you shouldn't read true, false, not given questions before the passage. Yeah, so Nirmaljit, you're right. We can say there are several questions that you should not read before the passage. Questions that have false and extra information. Okay, so yep, skimming and scanning, those are not good. Daljit says read all the passage. That's something that you should do. Yeah. Danish says don't do hollow reading. I think what you mean by that, Danish, is the opposite of active reading. Yeah. So do not read inactively. It means without visualizing or critically thinking of information. Okay, absolutely. Chantal says, don't spend a lot of time on questions that you don't know. Absolutely, Chantal, that's right. So don't waste time on high-level questions. What I mean by that is questions that are designed for Band 8 or Band 9. So don't waste time on high-level questions. That's absolutely true. Very good one, Chantal. Sharuk, if you wrote yes, no, not given, and it's a true, false, not given question, you will get those wrong, except, of course, for the not given, because that's the same. So Patel says, why is skimming and scanning bad? And that's a good question, Patel. Does anybody know? So let's jump back to that first don't. Why is skimming and scanning for all the answers bad? Why is that a really bad idea? Okay. And don't panic came up a couple of times, and that's really good as well. Okay. So Shangheng says, well, because the IELTS exam uses paraphrases to ask questions, and that negates skimming and scanning skills. Yeah, and in fact, they'll sometimes use the same words as in the question, but in not the right answer in different parts of the paragraph. And Gulnaz says it's a time-consuming and confusing strategy. Yeah, and that's all related. So this is ineffective because IELTS uses paraphrasing to negate skimming and scanning for most questions. Also, many questions you may not be able to scan for, like false and not given. Okay? So this strategy usually wastes time and is very confusing. Wastes time, is tiring, and is confusing. It also wastes a lot of energy, students. So skimming and scanning wastes a lot of energy, not just time. And then you need to finish the writing section. And if you burn out all your energy trying to skim and scan, your brain will be fatigued for the writing section. So it's a double bad. It's a double whammy. Okay? All right. So those are definitely some don'ts. And of course, the other big don't that many of you said is don't panic. Slow and steady wins the race. Yeah, a lot of students get obsessed by the time, and then they get flustered, they panic, and they lose more time, and they lose focus. So don't do that. Okay? Matt Sarav, I will discuss yes, no, not given questions today. So bear with me. All right, so let's talk about the do's. So what should we do? Okay, so these are all the don'ts. So then what are the do's? What should we do so that we can get the highest band scores possible for the reading section? What are positive strategies, or what are strategies that are proven effective, especially for scores band 6.5 to 9? So going for those higher band scores. So Onisim Lonut says, summarize the content. Not only summarize it, Onisim, but structure the content by visualizing the information. Absolutely. It's a very good one, Onisim. Summarize and structure the content of the passage by visualizing. Visualizing. See yourself in the information. Okay, so be a part of it. Absolutely, that's a big do. That's a really big do. Okay, we are visual creatures. We see the world around us. So we need to do that for effective processing. Okay, Huddy Peck says, give the right answers. Huddy Peck, that's good. You even gave a little smiley emoji. But be confident in your answers. So give the right answers. Sounds like it's a funny one, but there's something there. Be confident in your answers. Okay, that is important. Okay, that's how you move through the passage effectively. Bishal says underline keywords. Bishal, no. In fact, underlining keywords is one of the don'ts. Okay, so I'm going to jump back to don'ts here because Bishal gave us another don't, is underline keywords. These are usually paraphrased. Underlining breaks your focus and ability to see the overall information, which means you get lost in details. And it wastes time. Okay, so underlining keywords is not a good strategy in most situations, all right? Because keywords are usually paraphrased in questions. You don't see the same words. Only for low bands, like if you're going for a band 4 or 5, then you'll see those same words. But most of the higher band questions, they're paraphrased. And also, underlining keywords breaks your focus. So you get lost in the little parts of the passage and you can't see the whole paragraph and you can't see the whole passage. Okay. Syed says, in how many minutes should I visualize and read the whole passage? And that's definitely a good question, and that's one of the do's. So do read the whole passage, okay? If you cannot read the whole passage and answer the questions, I'm sorry to say, but you're probably not a band 7 or higher student, okay? So a native speaker, just keep in mind, can read a passage in 5 minutes, okay? So you should be able to read the passage, understand 70% or more, visualize, and keep a clear structure in 10 to 12 minutes. Of course, this leaves 8 to 10 minutes to answer 13 to 14 questions, which should be enough time. Okay? Keep in mind that a native English speaking high school student can read a passage like this in 5 to 6 minutes with clear comprehension. Okay? So the IELTS is giving you a decent amount of time. Okay? All right, so keep that in mind. All right? So one of the do's is definitely read the whole passage, practice that at home. Focus on having 70% understanding, and you have about 10 to 12 minutes to do that. Okay? Balaji, don't guess the questions while reading. There are only a few question types that you should answer while reading. Anybody know what that is? So what question type should you answer while reading? So that's another don't. Do not answer most questions while you read, as this breaks your flow and concentration and wastes time. Okay? Except, there's one type of question that you should answer while you read, except for, which type of question? Yeah, for Dobbs, very good. Headings. Ramandeep, very good. Headings. Yeah, the list of headings. Yeah. Fill in the blanks. Hadi, that's a questionable one, but a list of headings, definitely. Vanessa, good. I'm glad that some of you know that. So I didn't say it, your fellow students did, except for a list of headings. You should answer these, each one after each paragraph. Yeah, definitely. Okay, great. Yeah, some very good advice there. So those are all the do's and don'ts, all right? I'm sure there might be some more, but those are definitely a lot of them. So let's just quickly review these, and then we will do the passage that we have here together in 20 minutes, okay, with the answers. So we'll put our money where our mouth is. That means I'll prove to you the concept of how to do one of these passages correctly. So first, let's review these do's and don'ts. So don'ts. Don't skim and scan for all answers. You might need to skim and scan for a couple of answers in the questions, but not for all of them. It's a bad idea because it's not effective. The exam makers use paraphrasing to stop you from skimming and scanning for most of the questions, okay? Also some, like false or not given, it's really wasteful to try to skim or scan for that. You'll read a whole passage before you may or may not realize that the information is not given, okay? So this strategy is useless. It's really terrible that there was this concept of teaching this to students. And sometimes students did say to me in the past, well, teacher, I got a 6.5 and I was skimming and scanning, and that was really painful too, because I would be like, oh, that means that you could have gotten a band 8 if you used the correct strategy. So if you can get a band 6.5 skimming and scanning for answers, you can probably get a band 8 using correct reading techniques. Okay, and then there are a lot of questions that you should not read before the passage, like true, false, not given, that have extra and false information. Careful not to read inactively. Find every topic exciting and amazing. Don't panic if you see some new words or unfamiliar information. Just think strategically, okay? Careful, the last question or the last two questions of each question set is usually designed for band 8, band 9 level students. So answer confidently and move on. Don't waste time searching and searching for minutes and minutes for one question. Students, if you've spent 2 minutes on one question, that's the absolute maximum. Your average time per question should be 40 to 45 seconds, no more. That's a lot of time for one question, if you think about it, 40 to 45 seconds. Okay? All right, never panic. Panicking is the enemy. Just think of good old boxing. The greatest enemy to any martial artist or a boxer is not the opponent, but it's the person themselves. You are defeated in your mind. You are defeated by panic in your fears. This is also true for exams, so careful, okay? Underlining keywords, it's good for practice at home when you're learning vocabulary and you're improving your reading, but don't do it in a real exam when you have a limited time. Underlining words, keywords doesn't help. It's because of paraphrasing. It breaks your focus and it really segregates your thinking. Okay, so careful with that. Try not to answer questions while you read. That can also be troublesome, especially because different question sets can look at different parts of the reading. So you might have to go back in the reading as well. Make sure to summarize and structure the content of the passage as you read. Be confident in your answers. These are the do's. You should read the whole passage. You should focus on understanding 70%. You should visualize your information, the information you read. Be a part of it. What do I mean by that? I mean a message about why do tortoises, sorry, not turtle, tortoise. Why do tortoises live so long? I got this nice picture here. Immediately as I start reading, I imagine that I am this person and I'm standing on the back of this turtle and whee! Okay, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm excited to read this passage, to learn about my giant friend and why my giant friend lives so long. So I involve my mind, my brain, to help me better understand what I'm going to read. Okay? All right? So be a part of the information. Okay? Yeah. So McConan says, put yourself in that shoe. All right? Okay. So students, 20 minutes. Here we go. 20 minutes. We're going to do this passage together. We will get a great score, and I'll show you how. Okay? This is how it works. Move with me, work with me. Here we go. Okay? So, why do tortoises live? Okay, but note the time, students, so you don't think I'm crazy or I'm a cheat. It's 28 minutes, 30 seconds in the video right now. So, we have to finish this by, let's say, 49 minutes into the class. Okay? So, why do tortoises live so long? Here's my beautiful tortoise friend. I'm sitting on his or her back. I'm imagining this. Okay, I take a quick peek at the questions, see which ones I can read. This one says, reading passage 1 has 6 paragraphs A to F. Which paragraph contains this information? This is all in the passage, so I know that I can review this type of question before. Factors that lower tortoises' life expectancy. Tortoises being used as a food source. Separation from predators contributes to their long lifespan. Some animals have different methods of ensuring the species lives on. Tortoises have difficulty adapting to new environmental pressures. Good. Next question set. 2 words, complete the sentence, all in the passage. I'm going to review. The causes of the tortoise's long lifespan are biological and While salmon lay thousands of eggs at once, tortoises rely on their something to continue the species. Unlike the tortoise, animals such as the something have very high metabolisms. The tortoise's something protects them from attacks, thus lengthening their life. Okay, so far so good. Questions 10 to 13. Do the following statements agree with the information given in reading passage 1? This is a true, false, not given. We have extra and false information here, so I'm not going to read this before the passage. I'm just going to read the passage now, clearly, fluently, visualizing. I'm on the back of the tortoise. All right, here we go. Tortoises are some of the longest lived creatures in nature. They can live so long that scientists have yet to fully document their lifespan, the lifespan of these hard-shell reptiles. Reports, however, indicate that certain species of tortoise can live up to 200 years, far longer than the average human lifespan. The reason tortoises live so long are evolutionary and biological. Though the population of these ancient creatures is declining due to low reproduction rates and increased predation. Now, I remember that this was one of the questions. Evolutionary is one of the answers, but I'm not going to stop to fill that in. I know that that's there, so I'm okay with it. I visualized it, and I keep going. Nature is incredibly diverse, but the common factor among creatures is the need to reproduce, okay, have babies. Some creatures, such as humans, have small numbers of young, 2 or 3, sure, a couple of kids, which are cared for diligently. Yeah, we love them, hug them, send them to school. Others, such as salmon, have no interaction with their offspring whatsoever. Instead, salmon rely on the sheer number of eggs they lay. Salmon are fish, they have millions of eggs. They lay so many eggs that some are bound to survive. Okay, sure. While some animals rely on care of vast number of eggs, the tortoise relies on the longevity of their life. Okay, so tortoises, they reproduce by living a super long time. Female tortoises can produce offspring for well over a century. Wow, that's an old mom, a 100-year-old mom. This is one reason tortoises live so long, so they can reproduce many times and thus continue the species. All right, so far clear. Reproduction, however, is not a cause of the tortoise's longevity. Okay, so they're not living that long because they're reproducing. The most fundamental cause of their longevity is their incredibly slow metabolism. Slow metabolism? What is that? I don't even know this word, metabolism. A creature's metabolism is the rate at which they process food and energy. Ah, okay. That's what metabolism is, using our energy. Some animals, such as the hummingbird, oh yeah, okay, that's a little bird, have very fast metabolisms. Yeah, birds eat a lot, fly a lot, move a lot, in order to power their high energy existence. Conversely, tortoises have very slow metabolisms because they have very few energy expenditures. Yeah, of course, tortoise just hangs out, walks around, eats a little bit of greenery. In general, creatures with slow metabolisms live longer than those with faster metabolisms. Due to its low metabolism, the tortoise can live for up to a year without food or water. Wow, 1 year without water and food, my good little man that I'm riding on. It's incredible. When explorers were first traveling to the Galapagos Islands in the 18th and 19th centuries, it was common for sailors to take tortoises on board the ship as they left the islands. Since tortoises survived so long without food or water, they were able to provide the sailors with a very long-lasting supply of fresh meat aboard the ship. Oh no, somebody stole my little friend that I'm riding on and took it on a boat to eat him. That's terrible. Why? Because they're able to survive a long time without food and water. So, okay, structure in my mind. First paragraph, introducing the tortoise. Second paragraph, talking about reproduction of animals and differences. Third paragraph, talking about the metabolism of the tortoise. So I got this structure in my mind. Good. Metabolism alone, however, does not explain the great age to which the tortoise can live. Critical to the tortoise's longevity is their hard shell. Aha, the armor on my friend's back that I'm standing on protects them from predators. Every long-lived creature in nature has a mechanism for protection. Oh yeah. Animals have speed to effect a quick escape, like a cheetah from predation. Some use intelligence, or that hummingbird. Some use intelligence to outwit predators, like humans and monkeys. Some use poison against predators, like spiders. Some have physical protection, like the tortoise. In addition to its hard outer shell, the tortoise is also a large animal, and in general, large animals tend to live longer than smaller ones. So here we have this big, powerful tortoise with this powerful shell. This one is talking about protection or defense mechanisms. A final cause of the tortoise's longevity is their island habitat. Animals which live on islands tend to live longer because they are kept separate from many of the most dangerous predators. Instead of developing energy inefficient methods of keeping safe, like running away or flying away from predators, and thus requiring an increased metabolism, tortoises are free to allocate their energy to extending their lifespan. So they're just chilling on these islands. Okay. All right. So far, introducing the tortoise, right? Talking about reproduction, metabolism, protection, and now the island. So I have this mental list of paragraph topics in my mind. So far, so good. Last paragraph. Though tortoises have developed an extraordinary ability to live a long life, today this ability is threatened by a number of factors. Oh no, they're in danger. My friend that I'm writing on, he's in trouble. First, and perhaps most significant, is predation by humans. Yeah, I remember those sailors eating them, that paragraph about metabolism. In the past, tortoises and humans did not commonly coexist, but today, tortoises are killed by poachers who value the tortoise's shell. Oh no, that beautiful shell that's meant to protect them, ironically, as their demise. Secondly, the contamination of tortoise habitats has put tortoises young at risk. For the first 5 years of a tortoise's life, they are prone to predators such as rats. Darn those rats. Originally, such predators did not share the tortoise's island habitat, but through the introduction of rats and other species to the habitat, it has put the tortoise at risk. Finally, the tortoise's slow metabolism means that they are very slow and virtually incapable of adapting to these new pressures. Yeah, my poor slow tortoise friend, he can't escape. If tortoise populations are not looked after, they will almost certainly become extinct. Oh no, please don't. I love my tortoise buddy. He's so cool, huge. I'm standing on his shell. All right, students, I'm not sure if you're looking now, but you may realize that we haven't spent more than 10 minutes on all this reading while I'm talking to you. So, here we go. Number one, factors that lower the tortoise's life expectancy. Well, that's a really easy one, and by gosh, I hope I'm not searching and skimming and scanning for that, because I just read that. That was paragraph F. Humans, rats, predation, those are all bad for this. So I know that. Tortoises being used as a food source, so people eating the tortoise. Okay, that was briefly mentioned in paragraph F, but mostly it was mentioned in paragraph C, right? The slow metabolism. Remember, first paragraph introduced the tortoise. Second one was about reproduction. Third one was about metabolism, and it talked about the sailors eating. If you're searching for this answer, you might write F here also, and that would be a mistake. Okay, Gulnaz? Why? Because C talks about it in much more detail. C talks about sailors bringing them on the boats and eating them because they last for a year or more. Okay, the meat. Separation from predators contributes to their long lifespan. That's an easy one too, because that was about the islands, right? Talking about the islands. They live on islands, so we know that that one was E. Okay, I still have that structural list in my mind. Notice that I haven't had to look at the passage even once yet, because I have a clear structure in my mind from visualizing. Some animals have different methods of ensuring the species lives on. What could that be talking about? I think that one is talking about defense mechanisms, right? So some of them use poison to protect themselves. Some of them use, but that doesn't make sense because that's protecting themselves. So visually that's wrong. So it must be more about reproduction. So I think reproduction is the better answer there, because defense means that I live on, and reproduction means the species lives on. Remember, IELTS is a thinking exam, right? So you have to think. I live on, that would be my defense, like my hard shell. The species lives on, that means taking care of my children. So I'm going to go with B on that one. Okay. Tortoises have difficulty adapting to new environmental pressures. So tortoises are slow moving. I remember I just read that in F. Okay. This one and this one. And note, by the way, you may use any letter more than once. If I have this in the question, it means that probably at least one of these has a doubling of answers. So F, C, E, B, and F. Those are my answers. D is not in there. I'm confident. Remember, it's one of my do's to be confident about my answers. So I'm confident. I'm going to keep those answers. All right. Let's go to the next set of questions. Here we go. Write your answers in boxes 6 to 9 on your answer sheet. The causes of the tortoise's long life are biological and something. Okay? Yeah, McConan, you could check, okay, but I'm confident. Are biological, and I remember I looked at this in the passage and I thought to myself, wow, I saw that in the questions. So I'm going to go back to this here. I clearly remembered this word, biological. And it's an inverse here. Now, this is one of the easier questions, of course. So biological. And here it's reversed. It says evolutionary. So I might as well check the spelling here. E-V-O-L-U-T-I-O-N-A-R-Y. Evolutionary. All right, so I'm going to make sure that I don't make a mistake with the spelling there. Evolutionary. Okay, there it is. All right, while salmon lay thousands of eggs at once, tortoises rely on their what to continue the species? So what do the tortoises rely on to continue the species? Onisim says longevity. Yeah, and Savaira says that too. I remembered that, okay? So I remember it's their long life. Long life or longevity. Okay, both long life and longevity are correct. Now, students, we still have lots of time to finish. We have 5 more minutes, so I'm going to stop for 1 second. This question helps me to guarantee which other question is correct. This question here helps me to guarantee that which other question is correct. What other question does number 7 help me with? Hopefully now you realize that this, number 4, some animals have different methods of ensuring the species lives on. Okay, so that has to be paragraph B, because this question helps me. Continue the species matches with that one. So McConan, very good. And that's why, students, you shouldn't waste too much time on a question, because one of the next questions might help you to figure that one out. So one of the big do's we didn't talk about is use the questions to help other questions. Okay? All right, so unlike the tortoise, animals such as the something have very high metabolisms. That was some kind of a bird. I remember in paragraph C, because paragraph C was talking about metabolism, right? Metabolism. And then some animals such as the hummingbird. Oh yeah, the hummingbird. Humming bird. So Humming bird. Humming bird, all one word, humming bird. The tortoise's something protects them from attacks. Oh yeah, that's an easy one. Hard shell. No problem. I visualized that lots. I mean, I was standing on top of that hard shell. So that's fantastic. All right, got a few more questions to go. The yes, no, not given, or true, false, not given was something like that. Let me hop over there now. Most islands do not have predators. Is it important for the passage to know whether or not most islands do or do not have predators? No, that's not going to be important for this passage. We're talking about the tortoise's habitat, not about most islands. So not important, not given for this passage. The most significant problems facing tortoises are caused by humans. Paragraph F talked about that. It is an important question for the passage. Is it true that humans cause the most problems for the tortoise? Well, unfortunately, I know that most of the problems caused to the animal world are caused by humans, by our pollution, by our hunting, by our greed. That's got to be true. The introduction of rats to tortoise habitats has affected the tortoise's lifespan. Is it important to talk about these predators, the rats, when talking about the lifespan of tortoises? Yes. Is it true that rats affect the lifespan? Yeah, because they eat the little baby tortoises. I remember seeing that horrible picture where they eat the baby tortoises. So it's true. Okay. Tortoises must be returned to their original habitats to survive. Is that important to know for this passage? Maybe. Is it there? I'm not sure. I'm running out of time. I don't clearly remember reading about this. I'm just going to take a guess. It's a Band 9 level question. I don't want to waste 5 minutes searching for that. Not given. Students, check your time. It's 49 minutes. Exactly 20 minutes on that passage. And of course, I was blabbing to you the whole time. So I was thinking aloud. You were inside my head. You were following my logic, my thinking. This is exactly what I do on an IELTS exam. So when I take an IELTS exam, a genuine exam, this is what I do. This is how I get a Band 9 score. Okay, I'm teaching you the exact same strategy that I would use in a real test situation. All right, this is what you should do. This is how you can go through a passage in 20 minutes. Now, that might seem difficult, but it's really not as long as you practice. And for you, it's a little bit easier than for me as a teacher or an instructor, because I'm talking to you at the same time. So I'm concentrating on teaching, thinking about how you understand me, as well as imploring or applying the strategies, okay? So for you, this is happening inside of your mind. You don't have to worry about your students, all right? A tough passage, even more important music beats. So with a tough passage, it's even more important. Remember, this is a band 9 session here. You don't need to get all 13 questions correct or answers correct for a band 7 or 8. If you get 10 of them or 9 of them, you're doing fantastic. All right. Okay, students. So that's how it's done. That's how you do a IELTS reading passage in 20 minutes. Of course, without giving instructions at the same time. Okay. All right. So remember the do's and the don'ts from today's class. And students, remember to check us out at aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Download our app, Academic IELTS Help. If you like the app, please give us a positive rating. Unfortunately, when people don't like it, they definitely give us a bad rating. When people like it, they sometimes don't mention anything. So please rate us positively also. And check us out for general students at gieltshelp.com. That's it for me for today, students. Tomorrow, we will continue these live classes with speaking part 2, cue card, and speaking part 3. So speaking part 2 will be for members, and speaking part 3 will be for everyone. Joanne, you're very welcome. I'm glad you made it into the class. McConan, yeah, I'm happy that it was kind of like your mom reading a story. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Have sweet dreams if it's late in your country and you're getting ready for bed. Bye for now. Keep up the good work.